thy labor, and thy patience, and how thou canst not bear them which are evil. And thou hast tried them which say they are apostles and are not, and hast found them liars, and hast borne and hast patience, and for my name's sake hast labored, and hast not fainted. In other words, you've hung in there. Verse 4, nevertheless, though, I have somewhat against you. In other words, God is saying, I have a problem with you. I have a problem with you. It says why? Because thou hast left thy first love. There's a Greek word I want you to write down if you take notes. It's called aphesis. A-F-E with a line over the top of it. K-A-S. Aphesis. 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 This means to deliberately give up. To abandon, willful abandonment. In other words, you left something. It's a deliberate giving up. And what God was saying to them is that they were giving God their service, but they were not giving God themselves. He said, I have this thing with you. I have this problem with you, that you have left your first love. Now, to look at this in context, it means that you have willfully given up your first love. You've abandoned all those things that God commanded you to do. In other words, some of y'all, I've had the opportunity to be the pastor when you got saved. And I saw how you came to Christ and how you cried out to Christ and how you loved God. And now God is saying, sometime between that point and today, you have willfully left him with your heart. He says your service is cool. I mean, you come to church, you show up, you do the things you're supposed to do, but you're not really with me like you used to be. Now we have to tug and pull and entice you all to do things and beg, and I got to be the one to say, come in order before people to come, because we have lost our first love. We've willfully abandoned. And we kind of do this at our jobs. Many of you have jobs that you don't like, and that may be an acceptable event. In other words, you go through the motions at your job, but you ain't really with that company. And that's cool for that company, because all that company gives you is a piece of paper, some bread. It doesn't give you a whole lot. But notice this. Some things that we have a habit of doing in our regular life, we do also with God. If you can go to your job and function and not care about it, you can now learn to do the same thing with God. Okay, I show up when I'm here, but here's the thing. God, you ain't showed up lately. You haven't blessed me like you said you was going to bless me. I'm giving, I don't see that, so you still come to church and you still do, but you've given up on your belief level in terms of whether or not God can truly do what he said he can do. And when you've done that, here's the danger. When you do that, God's still God. But you are closing his ability to bless you because you have now stepped away from what he has required you to do. When God commanded you to love him with all your heart, all your soul, and all your mind, he didn't give you the prerogative to say, well, I think about it. He said, to live with me, to live in my realm, you would have to love me with your heart, your mind, and your soul. And can I help you with the true indication as to whether you are where you're supposed to be or whether you are at a state of fetus is that things are not happening that should happen. Marriage going wickedy whack. Because now instead of being one, we are two. And everything that one does, the other can't stand. But yet, there was a time when, ooh, baby, I sure love you, I love you, but now, because there has been a willful abandonment, I'm still married to you, but I don't really love you. I can still come home, we can still get together, although not as often anymore. But God says, say this with me, but there's hope.
But there's hope.
Now, that was 98% of y'all. Remember when I asked y'all to say something with I was quiet? Yeah, so, you know, I be scanning lips. And there was some of y'all lips that didn't move. Now, say this with me. There's hope.
There's hope.